Macros in Altair Monarch Data Prep Studio allow you to apply a series of data prep functions in a single step to multiple columns and tables, and even across workspaces. Here we have a workspace with sales records for several different bicycle models. We have the product code and description, sales figures, customer name, and more. For the product description, notice that some values have extra spaces. Some are fully capitalized and others use normal capitalizations. The customer name has the same issues. Some customer names have spaces within the words making up the name. Let's create a macro to cleanse these columns. In the macro section of the data source library, click Add Macro. You can create a text, numeric, or date-time macro. We need a text macro to cleanse our product descriptions and customer names. Here we see the sample values that a text macro can cleanse using these data prep operations. You can change the case, clean up spaces and characters, perform extract operations, insert text, redact sensitive data, and replace nulls, blanks, and more. In our case, let's start by trimming leading and trailing spaces, and then removing consecutive spaces. We will add a change for setting the values to proper case as well. Notice that you can add a description to a step or delete a step if needed. Now give the macro a name, and we're done. The macro is now available in the table. You can create numeric macros in the same manner using compute, format, and replace functions. For date-time macros, you can perform format and replace functions. Back in our sales workspace, our clean spaces and fixed case macro is now available in the macros submenu. We can even apply this macro to 2 columns at once. Notice we can see all 3 data prep changes performed by our macro in the change history for the description and customer name fields. You can also apply a macro from the column list. Monarch groups the macros by type, and we can see our new macro in the drop-down menu for text macros. Here we have another workspace with sales records from different products from different retail stores. The item descriptions have the same issues regarding extra spaces and inconsistent capitalization. We can address this quickly with our clean spaces and fixed case macro. In addition to creating macros from scratch, we can also import macros from a macro collection file. Simply check off the macros you need, and Monarch adds the selected macros to your personal collection. You can also set the path for the shared macro collection to enable access to macros created by other users. Once loaded into the list of shared macros, you can then choose to import a macro into your personal collection. For example, we can now use the shared apply, ditto, and short date macro with our date column. Notice that the text macro we created earlier is not visible here because we are at a date type column. The clean spaces and fixed case macro, along with the text macro from the imported file, appear when we select a text column. The imported numeric macro appears as well when we select a numeric column.